Hi everyone, welcome to our channel. So today we'll be discussing on the topic phrasal verbs. Seems complicated, but yeah, it is quite easy if we break them down. So let's get into the video. So what are phrasal verbs? Phrasal verbs are nothing but a combination of verb either with the preposition or a verb with an adverb. Okay, so what happens is when you combine a verb and preposition or a verb and adverb, it gives a different meaning. Okay, just take an example. The verb is take, which means to get something. I mean, to lift something off or to, bring something. Okay, that is the meaning. But when you combine it with the word off, it gives you a different meaning. Like take off means this is something you would have heard if you travel a lot. For example, the plane took off, or the plane takes off at 7 p.m., right? Which means it is going to leave. Okay, it is going to leave the airport. It is going to go on the air. So it gives you that meaning. And another meaning of take off is to remove. Okay, so that is what phrasal verbs are. When you combine verb with a preposition, or when you or when you combine verb with an adverb, it gives you a different meaning. And those verbs are called as phrasal verbs. Okay, why do you think phrasal verbs are important? It is for conversational purpose. It makes our language more natural. Okay, so, yes, we started off with the example take off, right? And take off has different meanings and can be used in different contexts. Okay, if you look at the first picture, it is like a person removing her clothes, so which is uh, I mean, there you could substitute remove with take off. She is taking off her clothes. Okay. And in the second image, there is this airplane, and which is in its run strip, right? So, which means the airplane is going to take off. Okay. And it is also used to, in business terms, it take off also gives the meaning to flourish or to grow. Okay, so you can see a graph and you can see the statistics improving. Okay, so the business has taken off well. Okay, or the business is taking off for this month of the year. Okay, and yes, in the fourth image you can see a thief or someone carrying a bag and running away. Here take off means leaving quickly. Okay, so the thief took off as soon as he as soon as he stole whatever was there in the shop. Okay, and in the last image you can see that the person is running away with his maybe a passport in his hand and a luggage, which means he is departing. Okay, he is taking off from his office for a vacation. Okay, so it's just one word, but the context we used were completely different from one another, and that is why phrasal verbs come in very handy. So there are basically four types of phrasal verbs. Okay, there's your transitive, intransitive, separable, and inseparable. Okay, so transitive phrasal verbs are nothing but they cannot exist alone. Okay, they always need an object along with them. Okay, so for example, we will get through. Okay, we will get through doesn't make sense. Get through standing alone will not make any sense. It should always be combined with an object, which is your difficult time. Okay, so we will get through this difficult time, and that is how it will make sense. Those are your transitive phrasal verbs, whereas your intransitive uh, phrasal verbs, they do not need any object. Okay, they do not need any object. They can stand alone. For example, if I come and I say step aside. Okay, step aside means that like I'm asking you to move aside, and you don't need an object to accompany with it. Please step aside for the cyclist. Okay, hope that makes sense. And then you have your separable and inseparable phrasal verbs. Separable phrasal verbs are nothing but you are combining two words, right? Your verb plus preposition. And when you're combining both, these are separable. I mean, the verb and the word you combined may be an preposition or maybe an adverb. They both can exist in the same sentence, but they are not required to stay along with each other. Like they are not required to stay put together. Okay, an example of that is please don't let me down. Okay, so here you can see that an object is right in middle of the phrasal verb, which is let down. Okay, those are your separable phrasal verbs, whereas your inseparable phrasal verbs are nothing but the phrasal verbs, if cannot be separated, you cannot insert any other object in between them, then those are your inseparable phrasal verbs. An example is the orphan carried on with his life. Carry on is a phrasal verb. It is an inseparable phrasal verb, which means you cannot insert an object in between carry and on. Okay, so here are some more examples of transitive and intransitive verbs. So yes, as I said earlier, transitive needs an object. Okay, only then the sentence will make sense. For example, she turned off the lights. Okay, if I just say turn off, it doesn't make sense, right? So I must accompany an object with it to be clear with what I just communicated. So I am telling turn off the lights. So here you can see an example. I find out the word. Okay. And next is here you turn on the TV. Okay. And he clears up the room. So he is tidying up his room. So it doesn't make sense if you just say he clears up. It should accompany what is being cleared up. So here the object is the room, hence the sentence would be he clears up the room. Sorry. So yes, intransitive. Intransitive phrasal verbs doesn't need any object to accompany with. They are good to go when even if they aren't accompanied by any kind of object. So an example is the plane took off. Okay, which means the plane departed. You don't need an object. Okay, and another examples are the plane takes off. Usually we mention time. Okay, those are not your objects, to be clear. And I go out at 7. Okay, and the game is over. Okay, hope that makes sense. And you have some more examples of your inseparable and separable phrasal verbs. As I said earlier, separable verbs means you can just insert any kind of objects in between your phrasal verb. Whereas in inseparable phrasal verb, the object will come only after the phrasal verb and not in between. Okay, so you can see the example. So in separable verbs, you see that she turned off the lights. You can insert the object right in between. She turned the lights off. Okay, and in inseparable, you cannot insert an old friend. She ran an old friend into. That is wrong. You can just say she ran into an old friend, which means she met an old friend. Okay, they happened to meet. Okay, so here are your other common phrasal verbs and their meanings. Okay, so we'll start from look up. We think that look up means us looking up towards the sky or the ceiling. No, that is not the meaning. The meaning is to search, okay, to search for any information, and that is what your lookup means. An example sentence is I need to look up this word online, or I need to look up this phrase online, okay, or I need to look up this word in a dictionary. I need to look up uh, this, this book in a bookstore, okay, or in a library. So yes, that is what lookup means. And then you have takeoff, which we have discussed enough, right? Takeoff means remove or leave quickly, and an example of that is the plane took off at 8 p.m. And then we have run into, which means meet by chance. We saw an example of that. I ran into my teacher yesterday, which means I happened to meet my teacher. It was a chance. It was not a planned one, but maybe we were walking on the road and all of a sudden I saw a teacher. I mean, I saw my teacher and we happened to meet. Okay. And put off. Okay, put off means to delay or postpone. Okay, so don't put off your homework, which means don't postpone or don't, you have this attitude of, yeah, we'll do it later, we'll delay it as soon as possible, we'll delay it till the last minute. Yes, those kind of attitudes can be expressed using put off, okay, which means to postpone. So, and next we have breakdown, okay. Breakdown is nothing but to stop working, okay, which means it is not working, okay. This is a phrase we would have used often in our daily lives, like my car had a breakdown, okay, the bus broke down. So yes, so we are using the breakdown in its past form, hence we are writing it as broke down. Okay, my car broke down last night. And then we have bring up. So then we have bring up. Bring up means to, mention something. Okay, out of the blue, when you mention something, you can express that using bring up. Okay, an example of that is she brought up an interesting idea. Okay, which means she mentioned an interesting idea. She, uh, you know, sorry for that. So she mentioned an interesting idea. Okay, and next is your cut down on, which means to reduce. Okay, to lower in quantity. Okay, that is what cut down means. You need to cut down on sugar, which means you should reduce your sugar intake. Maybe you're tested with diabetes or something, and your doctor tells you that you are supposed to cut down on sugar or carbs. Okay, and next is your let down. Let down is, it is used to tell someone that you have disappointed them. Okay, maybe they expected so much of you, but then you didn't perform so much, and that becomes a disappointment to them. In those scenarios, you can replace disappoint with let down. Okay, so here you can see that don't let down your team. So it says that perform well, don't disappoint your team. Okay, and makeup is nothing but to reconcile, which means you had a fight or something, and then you both go and talk to each other, sort it out. Okay, and it also has another meaning, which is invent. You creating something. Okay, you finding something. Okay, That is also one of the meanings of makeup. Okay, so here you can see we are using reconcile. Okay, they made up after the argument. Here the meaning is reconcile, which means we sorted the fight out. Okay, and next we have back out. Okay, back out is nothing but quitting. Okay, you might have agreed to something and then uh, you might feel that no, this is not for me, and hence you wanted to quit. So withdrawing from a commitment. Okay, that is the meaning of back out. So the example is he backed out of the agreement. Okay, he backed out of the contract. Next is to keep up. Okay, imagine you running, you go for a jog with a friend, and maybe your friend is more fitter than you, and she is running a teeny tad faster than you are. So, and your friend look at you and she asks you to run faster or to run, alongside with her. So, in those cases, she might use keep up with me, which means run with me. Okay, maintain my pace. Okay, that is an example of keep up. And here, an example is you need to keep up with your studies. You have to maintain the pace with your studies. There should be no lagging. Okay, that is what it means. Okay, hope these phrasal verbs are you might have got an idea about how, I mean, what they are and how to use them and when to use them, right? So only when you put your study into practice, you would be able to grasp it a little more, right? So try learning, try putting any five sentences in use today so that you remember, okay, remember how to use them. And so that is it for today's class. You have some usage tips where to use them. As I said earlier, the context matters because the same phrasal verb can have different meanings when you put it in different sentences. Okay, so an example is take off, which means remove, and take off also means to leave or to depart. Here you can see that please take off your shoes means please remove the shoes, and the plane took off on time, which means the plane, is departed. Okay, departed on time. Okay, and next is learning in phrases and not isolation. Okay, so an example is look up to someone means you are admiring a person. That is the meaning. Okay, and you cannot just use that for something else. For example, look up something, which means search. If I say uh, look up to, look up to a book in the library, it doesn't make sense, which means I am asking you to admire a book in a library. That doesn't make sense, right? So if you're learning any phrases, you just learn them completely, learn the meaning of it, and know where to use them. Okay, so look up to someone is admiring. I look up to my dad means I admire my dad, and look up something means I'm searching for an information. For example, looking up a book in a library, which means I'm searching for a book in a library. Okay, and try to use these sentences often so that you are familiar with this phrasal verbs. Okay, so that you are not confused, and that is what I told you today. Whatever you learn, you have to put it into practice, otherwise you would forget it. Okay, so let's the favorite part of mine, I guess. Hope this is your favorite too. Let's get into the activity. So please hide the answers. Okay, no peeking into the answers. So first we have, I mean, like on the left side you have your phrasal verbs, and on the right side you have its meaning. Okay, now we are supposed to match these phrasal verbs with its meaning. Okay, just hide the answers and try to sort it out. Pause the video. Okay, and yes, to everyone who has it sorted out and correctly, then good for you. Who hasn't, it's not a problem. We'll just match it right now. So first one, breakdown. Okay, we learned about this. Breakdown means something has stopped working. Okay, it is not working anymore. You like your cars or something. So the option is B. Okay, put off. Put off means to delay, right? We learned that to delay or postpone. So the answer is A. And third is look after. Look after. Looking after someone means you are responsible for them or you take care of that person. So the correct option is C. And you have run into, which means you happen to meet someone, and the correct answer is meet by chance. Okay, let's get into the activity 2. And yeah, so you have your answers down. Please don't look into them, try to solve it, and then pause the video, try to solve it, and then you can look into the answers. So yes, hope you had it sorted. If not, we'll sort it right now. First one, the car suddenly dashed on the highway. Okay, it looks like breakdown on the highway, but it's not a present. We're not talking about present here because uh, you have a little cues like you say suddenly, and on the highway we don't know where the person is in present. So we might, I mean, we go for past form over here. So which is this car, I mean, the car suddenly broke down on the highway. And second one, can you look after my dog while I'm away? Yes, that makes sense. So the answer is look after. Third, she put off the meeting to next week. Yes, that also makes sense because the past form of put is also put, right? So, yes, here you can say that the meeting has been postponed. Okay, and it is postponed to next week, which means the action already happened. So we are introducing the past form of put off. The past form of put off is already put off. So yes, she put off the meeting to next week. I run into my old friend at the mall. Okay, so this person met her whole I mean her old friend at the mall, which means the meeting happened. So it should be written in the past form. So I ran into my old friend at the mall. Okay. And another activity, yes, this is to be done on your own. So I have three phrasal verbs for you over here, which is take off, look up, and run into. Take off means remove or leave quickly or to depart. We have a lot of meanings for this. You can take any one meanings and put it into a sentence of your own. Okay. And look up means to search for something, search for an information. Okay. And run into is run into means meeting someone by accident or by chance. Okay, so I have given you the meaning of all three phrasal verbs. Now it is your turn to frame a sentence. Okay, uh, please do try it out, and if you have any doubts, reach out to us. We'd be happy to help you. And just to summarize everything, phrasal verbs are nothing but verbs that are combined with either your preposition or your adverb to create new meanings. Okay, and there are like four types of phrasal verbs, which is your transitive, intransitive, separable, and inseparable. Transitive verbs can exist, I mean, have to exist only with an object accompanied with them, whereas intransitive verbs can exist without any object. And separable phrasal verbs are phrasal verbs in between, phrasal verbs in which you can introduce any object in between them. Okay? And inseparable phrasal verbs are phrasal verbs which cannot be separated. It should be together always, and the object would always follow them and not come in between them. Okay, and finally, yes, practice makes a man better. So try to put everything into use. Okay, and yes, as I said earlier, you have to. Okay, you have to use at least 5 phrasal verbs in your conversation today. Okay, and that's it for today's class. If you have any suggestions, please do let us know. And if you have any queries or doubts or how to join Blossom English Academy, please do reach out to us. Okay, thank you so much.